Yeah, there's no way I'm making that. I mean, unless I'm.
In just a few moments, you're going to witness one of the greatest podcasts for Christians of all time. Antioch Speaks. Josh and Brent discuss Christian topics. They look through a filter of biblical truth, a biblical worldview. These two men are not afraid to discuss the topics most preachers are not able to tackle. Grab your headphones, a notebook and pen, and something warm to drink. Comment, like, and share. They are live on Facebook in just a few moments.
Antioch Speaks is live tonight.
Tonight.
So we're live right now.
With the little AI chick.
Shh, don't tell anybody. I want people to think that I hired someone to, like, do that.
No, because then they think we're making all this money and they won't want to give us any. So,
Are you making money?
are we making money here?
This ministry right here might not be generating income, but you, sir,
I'm making
are
money.
blessed.
I am blessed.
You are blessed.
I am blessed,
I
fully
don't know.
blessed.
I don't know. You do the Lord's work. You're obedient. He blesses
And
you.
he blesses you. It's just kind of how it works.
You think of it as just tithing, but it's even driving all the way to Woodstock and sitting down here and doing this for an hour. You get blessed, bro.
It's your time, too.
What's wrong with your voice?
Oh, man. Is it bad? Can you
Just say I
tell?
talk too much. Just say it.
I talk too much.
So
we had a lot of yelling and screaming Sunday at church. It was fun. And then my new job, I talk on the phone a lot. And so from Sunday and then yesterday and then today, it's just gotten progressively worse.
all right, I am grateful because the politics season has ended for us.
Yay.
Here at
Can we get
Antioch
Can we just get a
Speaks.
round of applause for the ending of the political season?
However, I'm going to let you get it out of your system.
What?
All your political celebrations since last Tuesday.
No, the hand clap was that it's over.
I know,
Like,
but
I'm
you
back.
have a little. You want to say something?
I mean, you think I want to na?
I don't know what you want to do. I hope not. I mean, I saw your pastor's post.
I didn't. I'm not on Facebook.
Your pastor posted something about us being gentle and kind to the other
Yeah.
side. That a lot
Yeah.
of people lost, and they're scared.
What I have to say about the election. Yeah, what my pastor says, be gentle and kind, because we are dealing with a group of people now who have been lied to for so long that they really feel like the end is coming with Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They really feel like he's going to murder every woman in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, they really feel this way because the media has lied to them so much. And if you go and look at the media or even the Democrat Party now, they've moved on from the election. Like, they're not out there screaming all this stuff about how everything's going to, everything's going to go downhill now. We're going to lose our country now and blah, blah. They're not screaming that stuff out there.
Where have you been?
Are they screaming that stuff out there?
Number
Maybe the
one,
media
liberal
is.
governors all over the country
Oh, really?
are saying, we're going to fight him tooth and nail on everything.
Well, yeah, but you knew
one
that
of them
was
was
gonna
like,
happen.
if you come for my people, I'm going to, stop you. They are, now I don't know if this is true, but
I'm just talking about, like-
I think today at 1 o'clock, the pharmaceutical companies
Mm-hmm.
got together and had a huge emergency meeting of some sort.
Because he's coming for them too. No, I'm talking
Well,
about
did you see his-
like
did you see
Kamala
that?
and everybody are just like,
I know you saw
it's
the
gonna
video.
Be a peaceful, it's going to be a peaceful transfer of power and everything.
No, this is not that.
Well, I'm
This
saying,
is
but
their, okay,
Kamala
so
and the administration are like whatever.
Okay, what he did
Yeah.
in January 6th, he did, right? No arms of him or anything. He spoke all day that day.
Yeah.
He called on Mike Pence to do something. He voiced out his opinion that something happened in the election.
Yeah.
And I think we all can agree now, back in 2020, something happened.
Something happened.
Okay? There's a lot of stuff he said that they're
Yeah.
saying is true now, that when he said it, they were calling him all kinds of names. They do it with arms. So Kamala herself says this will be a peaceful.
Okay, and then
But then all the liberals in the states and
Yeah,
and
they're all
the
like-
crazies, he's gonna take our. This blows my mind because your wife shared this thing about privilege, and he said you got to understand what privilege this is for you to argue your
delusion.
baseless delusions about him not allowing you to have abortions, not allowing gays to get married, when we literally have just struggled so hard to
Just to
invest,
just to eat,
to
just to put
invest
food on
in
the
our
table, yeah.
future, to pay our health insurance. We've had real life problems, and you are sitting in your car
Somehow are crying because
you're a female, you've got 2 kids out of wedlock, you're getting tax returns for them in January, and you're dating another female, and she's got 1 kid out of wedlock, and she's got tax return coming in January, and you two are going, he's not gonna let us get married. Your health insurance is free practically.
Yeah.
You have no idea what America's really feeling.
Yeah, I think that's what
and this is why Facebook bans some of our videos.
I think that's why there was such a resounding no to the Democrat Party, is because they have completely lost touch with any sense of real life in this country.
They have lost touch, and I think
They have no idea what real life in this country is. They think that they're 3 to 10% minority special interest groups are what the predominant sentiment in the country, or what the majority of the country
that's
believes.
the second part. Is this we had?
And it's not the truth.
They're calling so many of these people racist and stuff that
Yeah.
are actually, you can't be a misogynist woman. Anyway,
can't.
so we really are
There's so
going to
many-
stop
dude,
politics. We are
there-
going to stop with politics.
There
right?
are so
Like, it
many
really is gonna
racist.
happen.
There are so many racist black men out there right now. It's crazy, and I'm like, what? Like,
Well, misogynist black
What?
men,
No,
right?
no,
That's
no,
what
no,
they're saying.
no.
Latino
White-
men and black men
white
won't vote for a
supremacist,
woman.
white supremacist black men.
And
out there. It's
I
like,
say
don't-
if you get a great candidate who's a female with good policies and can campaign well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why didn't she go on Joe Rogan?
I'm just saying, like, if you, I would have voted for. I would have voted for a.
Did you also see the other thing?
you know what I'm saying?
Since
Like,
he won, now there's an uptick in men wanting to rape and make women keep babies. that's automatically. Anyway,
it's
he hates women. I get it. All right, now
we all hate women because we voted for him.
we're going to talk about this. Pete Hegseth is a co-host on Fox News is the Secretary of Defense.
Okay.
So he's appointed to Secretary of Defense. Kristi Noem, who's a female, is Secretary of Homeland Security. This is his appointment. William McGinley is the White House counsel.
Okay.
I'm just going to go over this. John Ratcliffe is the CIA
I don't know some of these
director.
names, so.
No, I'm just going to go over it with you,
right.
and then we'll move on. Stephen Witkoff, Special Envoy to the Middle East. Mike Huckabee, Ambassador to Israel.
Nice.
Mike Waltz, National Security Advisor.
Who's Mike Waltz? It's not Tim Waltz.
Retired Army National Guard officer, a war veteran, and no, has nothing to do with Tim Waltz. Susie Wiles, Chief of Staff. Now, this woman is the first female Chief of Staff ever.
Who is she? Click on her. I want to see. Do I know this woman? Do we know this woman?
I've learned about her. She's worked on a bunch of other campaigns, and she's helped advise him in this campaign. Senior advisor to Trump's 2024 campaign. Background in Florida politics. She helped Ron DeSantis win his first race in Florida. 6 years later, she was key to Trump's defeat of him in 2024. Wiles' hire was Trump's first major decision. Wiles was able to keep Trump on track. Anyway,
Tom Homan.
She's got some border czar. Tom Homan.
So border czar is an official position now?
Yep.
Because I thought it was made up for Kamala.
Yeah.
But
no,
anyways.
Tom Homan has insisted such as massive undertaking would be humane. Wait. Elise Stefanik, United Nations. A lot of women.
Yeah, seems like that. Is that Stephen Miller?
Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Lee Zeldin, Environmental Protection Agency. So those are some names. You shared a video with me of Tomi Araromi saying that we pray that he has discernment as he does this.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is that was one of the big problems in his first administration, right? Is
discernment. That's what he told Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he picked some wrong people. He picked people who he owed favors to for the election, for this, that, or the other thing, instead of picking people. And he left some people in power that he probably shouldn't have. He left some people in positions that he probably shouldn't have. He should have gutted Obama's administration.
I agree.
He should have completely gutted it, and he did not. He left a lot there.
People that had experience or whatnot.
Yeah, because they had experience and whatnot. Like Tommy like Pastor or Prophet Tommy said, is that he needs to go back to the what's the show he was on? The Apprentice. To his apprentice roots, and start firing people, and just fire them one after the other. And it's what they're afraid of. Like the deep state is very afraid right now. He's coming to fire a lot of people, in my estimation. From what Prophet Tommy said, he said scorched earth is what is coming. He said the Lord said that Trump should just go scorched earth on these people who are entrenched. And when we talked about Kamala selling herself basically to, I don't know if he didn't say selling her soul.
Yeah.
Specifically, but selling herself. I think that kind of goes for everybody in the administration as well. Everybody that was under her, everybody in the higher ups in the Democrat Party, like all of these people kind of have sold themselves to this abortion, child mutilation philosophy.
Grossness.
Yeah, this just gross. We're gonna put an abortion clinic outside of the DNC thing. This is gross. It's disgusting, and people called him out on it last Tuesday. This is gross. This is disgusting. You can't keep doing this. We're not gonna vote for you. No, we're not gonna stand for it.
So, do you think, and we'll wrap up the politics thing, but we're going to cover a couple more things, that Democrats have a problem winning future races? In 2 years, they have races coming up. 4 years, they have the presidency. This is the last time he has to run. He doesn't have to run again. What do you think? What do you think about the Democrat Party?
I think over the next 2 years. So first off, it's a Republican House, Senate, and presidency.
The trifecta, I'm about to read this article right here, and it says, Good morning. We're covering what Republicans will do with a governing trifecta, which I'm adding the Supreme Court.
So the quadfecta.
Yeah, but
so what? No matter what they do, everything they do, the media is going to spin it to produce hatred and produce emotion in the people. And so in 2 years, we may lose one of the two.
You think so? So you don't think
we might lose
the
one
way the Democrats campaign right now, you don't think they have a problem?
Oh, they have a
need
big
to
problem.
change. Okay.
But I think our problem is going to be messaging over the next 2 years because they own the media. They own the media. So what people hear and see, they own that. And so I think if they're smart, they tone down some of this far left stuff and just start, from a media standpoint, and just start attacking Republicans on every policy that they do from here for the next 2 years.
So the first thing that he promised in his campaign is tax cuts.
Yeah.
Now this
on overtime. Come on, I want to see it.
I'm going to read a little bit.
I want to see it.
Signature legislation that Trump signed in his first term was 2017 law that cut taxes for almost all Americans. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to skip that. Anything that I feel like is propaganda, I'm going to skip it.
Why?
Because I'm reading from the New York Times, right?
Okay.
So this is what I think. He cut taxes.
Yeah.
I think he cut taxes across the board.
I think he went across the board.
Now, New York Times wants to add, especially the wealthy. Okay. But he cut taxes for everyone. Many of those, and they add corporations, which we can get to. We could do a whole episode on the fact that corporations don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Many of those cuts expire in 2025, and he has Republican Congress, and they're going to extend them.
Can they just nail them down as permanent?
They want to cut taxes more.
Oh, okay.
Like on tips. I heard a rumor, I don't know if this is true, but on car loans, your interest on your car loan, he wants to cut taxes on. There's a whole list of things that American working people could really benefit from.
Yeah.
If we could write them off. And then, of course, the New York Times like to say, this is going to make an expensive tax bill more costly.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Second thing, immigration.
We'll just let that go.
Obviously, Trump is all about immigration.
So here's the argument that I keep getting into at work. 20 million, let's just say 20 million. He's just going to deport 20 million illegals, and I'm like, I don't think he's going to.
This article doesn't say anything about that. This article says he needs to spend money, and he's not going to get the backing from both Republicans or Democrats to spend more money on border patrol.
I think he will.
No,
I think initially he will. I think if they can. I think so. Here's the order of operations I see happening. I see the tax cuts coming in first, and I see that if he's smart, is that he can pose the tax cuts in a way that shows the amount of revenue it'll generate, and then take that to pitch his border security bill or whatever. Okay. So that we're by cutting these taxes, we're going to up the revenue, which will pay for this.
I see that, and then my favorite thing that he's going to do, and I'm going to go out and say this. Go look right now at the price of a barrel of oil. Stop looking at the local gas prices. Those go up and down depending on our vacationing, the weather, everything like that. Go look at a price for a barrel of oil right now. Go look at what OPEC, the oil-producing countries of the world, claim they're producing every month. Mm-hmm. And then when he gets in on January 20th, go watch.
Again. Go look again.
Energy and climate. Congressional Republicans will probably reduce clean energy funding, and Trump can unilaterally permit more oil and gas drilling. Just this article makes OPEC say they're going to pump more oil.
Just the article
alone.
Whether they pump more,
it doesn't matter. They're not really going to pump more oil, but they'll say it to the world.
And so
the price of a barrel of oil will come down. Again, your local gas prices in March and April may go up because the summer is around the corner. However, the overall price of oil will come down with the idea that this country is going to take care of its own energy.
And that's the thing is I heard somebody say that if he the Keystone Pipeline would be done, and actually moving oil right now, if that hadn't been stopped by Biden when he got in. Do you think, this being 4 years removed, do you think we go back to that and just start that pipeline back up, or have they stopped it so much and gotten away from it so much that they just go in a different direction?
I don't know a 4-year period. I don't know enough stuff.
Yeah.
Logistically about starting back up. I just
building
don't
a
know.
pipeline, yeah.
But I know his rhetoric will be enough to calm our cost the whole time he's the president. I know it will.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it again. And people make fun of this, but this runs everything. You're talking about eggs going up. You're talking about milk. Milk went up from $2 a gallon when he was the president to $3.50 and even $4.50 in some of the grocery stores when Joe Biden was the president, because gas.
Because of
you
gas
got to
prices.
use energy to get the
Yeah.
milk to you. To every little thing, eggs, all your commodities
what
go
people,
up
people
with
understand
gas.
is the amount of milk being produced in the country did not go down under Biden. It was just the fact that gas prices
Transporting
went up.
it to you.
That's what made it go up.
Every
Yes.
single, when you go to a farm, every single piece of equipment is gas powered.
Yes.
Everything that's going on is petroleum.
Because when people talk about, well, I gotta fill my tank up anyway, so gas prices don't really matter to me. Whatever, I'm gonna fill it up. I get that, because I'm the same. I'm still gonna fill it up, but it affects everything. Gas prices affect the price of everything else. Anything that is moved from one part of the country to another part of the country to come to your table, gas prices affect the cost of that.
Now, here is the biggest debate from the liberal side, is he is not going to continue to fund Ukraine to defend herself against Russia. But the idea here that I think everybody's missing is he's going to be tough on Putin, and the war in Ukraine is going to end.
Well, so I think the other thing we're missing is we have given Ukraine billions and billions of dollars already that we maybe not have accounted for all.
Well,
of it.
it's hard. This is like
let's,
giving Planned Parenthood money and saying that you're not funding abortions.
Yeah, I get it.
They're able to defend themselves all this time, so you're at a hard place to say it's not the money
I get it.
It's our support that's helped them not be.
But what I'm saying is I still think we've given them more money than they have needed to do.
I think a lot of Americans agree with that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Americans agree with that. I'm just saying it's hard. It's a hard argument considering that they're defending themselves.
I think he can. Here's the thing: is I think he can cut funding to them, and you'll still watch them defend themselves. Because what's their alternative? To die? You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to continue to defend themselves.
The war might end, and then all of this is irrelevant before the funding would even end.
Yeah.
The funding doesn't end till the last quarter of 2025, so it's all ridiculous speculation today anyway.
So there's no need for him to even cut funding. The funding's already made. So
yeah, for the 3 quarters of 2025, the funding's already.
Could he cut that, or is it
probably?
Is it set in stone?
I'd have to look more. I don't know.
Sorry, guys. You can tell that I'm all Facebook. I'm not looking into politics. So everything that we're reading right now is my first hearing of it. So
here is the speculation: the Trump tariffs. Now we all have opinions about the tariffs. I, for one, believe that when he threatens, again, doesn't actually implement a tariff, he threatens tariffs. Americans get back to work. It's the most amazing.
You know the funniest thing about the tariffs that he imposed is he imposed these tariffs. Biden ran against him, denouncing his tariffs. The whole left got completely up in arms when he put in the tariffs. Biden left in the tariffs.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like what? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
So
it's all politics.
Then you have the other thing is balancing the budget.
Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about the tariffs. Let's talk about the tariffs for a minute.
Okay.
I mean, I think that, well, in the beginning of the country, that's how we made our tax dollars. That's how we funded our government, was with tariffs. We didn't have an income tax until...
I know, this is interesting. So if you wrote this article, I'm going to read this to you. Tariffs. Trump campaigned on large tariffs, effectively sales taxes on foreign goods, to resurrect American manufacturing and to raise revenue. But some Republicans and business leaders are opposed. Tariffs historically mean higher prices, and they could lead other countries to retaliate with their own penalties on American products. Trump could try to impose tariffs unilaterally, but such a move would be vulnerable to legal challenges. Is this how you would write this article if you wrote it?
No, I'd be
There's
like,
like
I'd
a
be
little
like, tariffs, yeah.
Right, which would be right. New balanced budget. They might let Obamacare health insurance subsidies expire. Now,
So how does your
here's the
daughter feel
reality
about that?
I don't think she knows that yet. We haven't had a conversation.
Does that hurt her?
And that's not reality right now. Nobody's ran on that. No one's discussed it. He didn't do it last time.
Yeah.
Obamacare state. That's what they criticized him for.
Yeah, is that it stay?
Hey, Republicans, he told you he was going to do something about health care. He did nothing. So,
Well, because
and he
he-
blames the House and Senate. He
Yeah.
says that he had no help.
Yeah, there
and
was a-
I
there was
believe
a-
that. They were trying to freaking impeach him the
There
whole
was
time.
There was
Like,
a plan that put forth that they voted. They didn't even. I don't even know if they let it come to the floor for a vote.
right.
Like it was just like poo-pooed from the jump. So
Poo-pooed. So now, had that happened, the bronze plan that she has right now, if it costs what it really costs without the subsidies, her insurance would not be very good compared to the market.
okay,
All right. So Blue Cross Blue Shield would cost as much as her
is that what we
bronze
want?
plan.
Is that what we're trying to
without
do? Is
subsidies.
to get them back, get us back out? Into
I don't know
market?
what I think we would be doing it to save money. I think the government pays a lot of money for insurance, health insurance, for people who don't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. So we were
But
talking
I mean,
about
that's in Medicare and Medicaid as well, though, right?
Medicaid. I think it's Medicaid. I want to get it right, but Medicaid pays for families that look. I'm about to say something that could create a lot of conversations in the future. Medicaid is what's creating the people who don't care about your gas prices and your health insurance costs, and they're whining and crying about their feelings and their issues because they are really privileged.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the programs, Section 8, food stamps, Medicaid. I'm grateful for them. I'm not burning
Yeah, I
them
don't know
down.
if we've talked about this here before, but like I taught this. So I have a boss who's rather liberal, but we've had this discussion and we can agree here is that the way these programs are implemented are ridiculous. The fact that, let's say, okay, we'll go with welfare too because it's part of it. If welfare pays you $1,000, okay, welfare says you can't make, once you make over $500, we're not going to pay you your $1,000 anymore. Instead of saying, if you make $550, we're going to pay you $950. And if you make $600, we're going to pay you $900.
Correct. You and I've had this conversation so many times. So, and
move
Gabby
you off of it.
Gabby is chiming in now as well with a couple of things, which I think the first thing she said is about the penalties. Now, my understanding for the penalties is only tax. You're only getting taxed for a penalty if you have no insurance at all.
Okay.
Okay. But I think something has happened. I don't think that they're able to do that anymore. But
I haven't been hit with the penalty since
I
it
did
was
pay
implemented.
two. I paid two back.
I don't think.
And
my mom's a
2010, 2011.
mom's a CPA.
I think
so
it was.
She kind of makes it so I don't know how she works it, but I don't think I've paid a single penalty on the Obamacare things. Maybe once. Maybe I did. I don't know. I'd have to default to her.
Okay,
or
so I'm
defer
trying to
her.
figure out, Gabby, Medicaid and Medicare. I sometimes mix them up. I believe Medicare is for the older generation, and Medicaid is for the children who are impoverished.
So yeah, Emily's saying Medicare is for.
I have that correct. So Medicare is something that doesn't seem to
Medicare
work
is,
very well.
is part of Social Security, I think.
Right. It doesn't
They
seem
kind of go. I think it kind of goes hand in hand.
Okay, corporations are okay. This is okay. Now I know what Gabby's talking about, and this is correct. Okay, so having all this now we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff, and I do understand a good bit of it.
Okay,
I do
good.
understand a good bit of it. Okay, so first off, I want to say before Obamacare, there was many health insurance companies.
Yes.
Many that would compete with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, and Humana.
Yeah.
Insurance companies could compete. Yeah. So if, for example, you were married, no kids, and you had health insurance from your job, and they were giving you Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is like the cream of the crop.
Yeah, it is.
It was taking $368 a month out of your check, and your employer was covering $368 with you. Yeah. So your actual premium was $740 a month for the good, but you thought it was $360. Yeah. Other health insurance companies were trying to compete with the good, but remove you from your employer.
So it was really going to cost you
$410 total, right? So it was cheaper than Blue Cross, and then there was other insurance companies trying to get your employer to go with them instead of Blue Cross, and it would be cheaper for both of you, right? And things like that were there.
Always happening.
Since Obamacare, you've only got the big dogs left because they wrote the bill, and you cannot compete with the American government. And the way Obamacare has been set up is what Gavi's talking about now. If you were going to float with no insurance like I did for many years, not at your employer and not pay for your own, and we'll get to comments in a second, you would get charged on your taxes. I paid $360 and then I paid $700 the next year because I didn't have it. That was to cover if something big happened to me, because here's the truth about American healthcare that no one likes to talk about.
Yeah,
this is the absolute truth.
If you go to the hospital right now, they have to take you.
If you get shot and you have no insurance, they will save your life.
Yes. People
talk about how they will bill you an astronomical amount. It doesn't make any sense. Saline doesn't need to be $500 a bag,
and you'll never have to pay
ambulance trip shouldn't be $5,000.
And you'll never have to pay it.
But because you never ever have to pay it, they don't even put it on your credit report anymore.
No.
That's why these things are so expensive now. Yeah. Because a lot of Americans don't have an insurance, they don't have Medicaid, they don't have Medicare, and they go get treated and they never pay the bill. Ever. Literally, there's no way to get the money back. Okay. So Obamacare thought to charge us. But what Gavi was talking about is if your employer does not have something set up for you, they're going to get fined if you work too much and they don't give you something. So
that's right. It's 30. If you work over 30 hours, that's why so many employers drop their people's hours down to 28.
On the flip side,
29. Yeah.
If your employer could afford it, they pull money out of your employer at the end of the year to help the rest of the system.
Okay.
There is some kind of tax penalty to that you just can't compete. It's best for your employer to kick you down to part-time and force you to go get Obamacare. Now, Obamacare is awesome because they offer all these different levels of insurance. So
but what do they really cover is the question.
Right. So your companies, your sister companies that tried to compete with the big dogs get replaced with the bronze. So they're going to have the $15,000 deductible. They're going to have the copay is only 25%. You can't pick a doctor.
So those little mom and pop companies just get
and you're going to go
out.
Gold, and you're going to go platinum, and you're going to get up to literally Aetna, Blue Shield, and Humana wrote the platinum plans.
Yeah.
The platinum plans. So when you get up there, you're paying a high price, but you get the pretty good coverage.
What's funny is I've talked about this for years is what would fix our health insurance problem would be if the government backed out of making insurance companies have to cover you for certain things if you don't want that coverage. Like a 60-year-old woman who still has to have prenatal stuff on her insurance.
We do too. We pay for it.
Yeah, it's stupid. You should be able to have an a la carte insurance plan to where I want this, and this. Let's put it. How much does that cost me? And you can take things out of it, things that you'll never need, or things you think you never need. I mean, because anything can happen. But I'm saying, things that you'll probably never need should be able to be taken out of your plan, and you should be able to just pay for it this way. If we did it that way, for one, you would have so many little companies popping up just offering you little things here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you would have competition again, and you would have cheaper prices. And then you could have bundle plans where it covered everything. But for me, I don't want all these things. There's only a few little things that I want on there, and that's it. Everything else, I don't want it.
And then, of course, you have now, the reality is subsidies is why people are on Obamacare. if you make $24,000 a year and the bronze plan premium is $568 a month, they're only making you pay one something, and they're paying the other. The government is paying the other four.
Okay.
You have the same issue.
Which is better than what your employer
The
was
next
doing.
year you get promoted and you make 20% more, and you jump to 36,000 or something like that, and you file your taxes. They're going to take away a huge chunk of the subsidy, and now all of a sudden you have the same issue that Ben Carson went after when he was appointed under Trump the first 4 years.
Yeah.
Of all the people we're helping who are divorced, who never got married, their spouses passed away, they have little education, no education, they're struggling. When they start to get ahead, we remove all help.
Yeah.
And that's
like that.
It's killing them.
It's insane.
If they get married,
insane.
you have one person making $13,000, they're getting $8,000 in assistance all year. Then they marry somebody who makes $11,000, and they remove all the help. You're after taxes, you're in a deficit.
Yeah, you've lost money
just because you did the right thing and got married.
Yeah.
And so, and Ben Carson wasn't trying to take everyone off the government dole, and that's how they paint it. When we have these hard conversations, you just
want to take everybody's stuff away.
Demonizes the other side.
We want to make it so they can stay. I mean, realistically, we want to make it so they can stay on it longer.
Get off
while
of it,
growing.
and you start paying into the system
While growing,
yeah,
they can stay on it longer and then get off.
Them and love on them, and but they, I don't know what it's about. I can't figure. Maybe it's about keeping a voter. I cannot figure that part out.
Who's not?
Let's get to her comments.
She says they're not paying anything. It's a gift. What is a gift? The Obamacare?
What did she say that to? Can you follow? Like, I missed a couple of her comments.
Medicare is based on your tenure, and sometimes even if retired, some can't afford or can't obtain it somehow. And then, I don't know, it just says they're not paying anything. It's a gift. And I feel like
it's a grift.
It's a grift.
She said grift.
It's a grift. Okay. So people aren't paying anything. Is that what you're saying? Or the government isn't paying anything?
The government isn't paying out on this. So she's saying it's a I've heard this before, but I don't know. It's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
If you invest this much, we'll guarantee you get paid out 12%, but you can't. The Ponzi can't ever give up the 12%. It's never there.
Yeah.
Because they're just spending your money. It's a scheme of some
sort.
Well,
it's the same with Social Security, right? Like Social Security.
That's what it looks like. But again, I can't prove that because the coffers, if your church spends 25%, and we're going to get into church finance again today, or ministry finance, I think today. But if your church spends 25% on helping women get new tires, it's hard to say that the guy in the back who's giving extra offering because of your child programs isn't spending some of his offering on women's tires, because it's the same coffer.
Yeah,
and that's what happened with Planned Parenthood. We all argued we don't want taxpayers
the fungibility of money.
to pay. We don't want taxpayers to pay for abortions, but then tax money is going into Planned Parenthood, and their main service is abortions. You can't say that.
Like that's going to stop really soon.
Well, I think I don't know. I think there's been, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you can't force Muslims and Christians in a country like this, where it's a separation of church and state, to pay for abortions.
Yeah.
You cannot force Muslims and Christians to pay for LGBTQ transfer.
It's against
separation of church and state was not to protect the government from us. We're not a threat to the government.
It's the government's a threat to us.
And they always will be, and they have been.
Always.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
The government is always, Christian or not, the government is always a threat to you. It is never, ever, ever good. They never do anything well. Nothing.
Right. So,
but grow.
Okay, so we're going to close up this on politics. Are we good? Did we get to all her comments? Are we?
There's no such thing as separation of church and state.
Period.
I mean,
that's her declaration. She's just going to.
It's a declaration right now.
There's no such thing as that.
I mean,
I'll say this: if they tax the churches, which has been argued from the liberals before, Joel Osteen's and the Stephen Furticks and the mega rich of the world, they're wanting to tax the churches because these men and women have gotten super rich. And Joyce Myers has gotten rich off writing books, which she's paid taxes on her royalties and stuff like that, okay? So it's not her church that's paid tax, but she has.
But so is Joel Osteen. They've all paid
he's paid
taxes
tax. Yeah,
on
it's
the
not, it's
books
not,
that he's.
he hasn't received the actual annual income from his church since like the late 80s or something.
Yeah.
And it was $70K when he was. So it's not even like bizarre. But
all
anyway,
his money is from books.
yeah, and he pays property tax on his property. Like
Yeah.
he's not, So, but if you tax the churches, Gavi, the churches will be able to lobby the U.S. government.
Yes.
And that is the separation part on their end. They don't want us there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, if the church is paying taxes, we have a right to stand in and say, hey, no more, homosexual behavior.
Yeah,
on
and they don't
kids
want
shows.
that. And
No
they don't
more-
want that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
They don't want us to be able to do that.
Sure.
So they'll keep the 501c3.
Well, I don't know. Again, it's an argument. The 501c though. Let's just go into that section now.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Church finance right now. The
No,
501.
no, Gabby, it's not in the Constitution. It's in a letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to a church.
Oh, I see what you're saying. She's saying it's not law.
No, yeah.
Separation of church and
There's
state
nowhere
is
written in
a-
the Constitution. And that's the problem that we run into with all the people that scream separation of church and state is they scream it like it is
Like it's a human right.
part of the Constitution, and it is not.
Gotcha.
It is never was. It was one founding father wrote about it in a letter to a state government anyways, or maybe to a church or something. Just basically saying that there should he said there should be separation between church and state. He never said there has to be. Never says I decree that there is. He just said there should be some separation between church and state, which I agree. Right. I agree. I definitely don't think that the government should set up a religion and run that religion. You see the problem with that in in England where we came from.
Right, that's a theocracy.
Yeah,
And
we don't want that.
We actually have a republic. All right, now
Contrary to popular belief, yes, we do.
We're going to change segment. We're going to separate this segment from the next segment. I've got a new separation from segment to segment tool, and I'm going to have so much fun with it. Here it goes. That lets me know when to break off each recording block because we have such long shows.
Yeah, sometimes.
Now watch this. This is my favorite thing.
Antioch Speaks is live tonight.
I hired a woman. Now check this guy out.
In just a few moments, you're going to witness one of the greatest podcasts for Christians of all time.
Greatest podcast.
Antioch
I didn't say
Speaks.
it. That guy said it.
That guy
Josh
said
and
it.
Brent discuss
You didn't even
Christian
pay him to
topics.
say it.
I didn't have to pay him.
They
He
look
just said
through a
it.
filter of biblical truth, a biblical worldview.
Come on.
These two men are not afraid to discuss the topics most preachers are not able to tackle.
Most
Grab your
preachers.
headphones,
Preachers.
They
a notebook
preachers?
and
I thought
pen,
you said
and something
creatures.
You
more
thought
important.
AI was on it just doing its
Comment,
thing.
like, and share. They are live on Facebook in just a few moments.
No, like right now.
Right now,
already
we're
live.
here.
But anyways,
Good times, right?
all right.
And then,
So
how about
church
this-
finance.
This music's the best. It reminds me of Mark Driscoll's. Have you ever watched his
Yeah,
podcast?
it's probably the same one.
No, it's different. I really went through these and tried to make sure
All right, so
that we had different stuff. But so let's switch
Gabby
to
said we
church
should have
finance.
hired her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anything you can do for us, Gabby. Let's. Now
We can't pay you,
The
but-
wages are your service.
The wages
the Lord
are,
is
yeah,
building,
the-
giving you things.
The
to
Lord
do.
shall bless you.
For now.
Anyways, go ahead.
Antioch Speaks is live tonight.
Now we're talking about church finance. Okay.
Church finance.
Now this, and I know we talked about this before, but first things we
A
did,
lot.
we ended up in this talking about the church paying taxes,
Mm-hmm.
talking about a 501c. Do you how do you see this? Like, if the church paid taxes as a whole, the American church, and that means all the Protestants, all the
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Catholics that are here have to pay taxes on all of the tithes that come in.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. If you're a person and you've tithed $10,000 this year, you write it off on your taxes at the end of the year. Have you written off your giving ever?
No, I don't. Well, this will be the year we've given the most this year.
Okay.
So I don't know what it
Now,
looks like at the end yet.
Your mom
so-
talked to me about this, and I've read about this, and I filed taxes on my own through TurboTax and stuff like that. I think you can write off like 10 grand without them like making you prove it, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
something
And
like
that's in everything, or
12,
just
I think.
It's 12.
I think it's
now,
12
so it
now.
went up. So, if they taxed the churches, would you still be able to write off your tithe and offering?
I don't think so because the church would be writing it off.
It'd be a different.
Yeah, the church would be writing it off, so you wouldn't be able to. only one person gets to write money off. You don't get to write off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if you have a kid and you're divorced, only one parent gets to write that kid off on their taxes. You don't both get to do it. Which it would be the same for the church. If they paid taxes, they would write it off. If
a church
there's
has to
no
pay
church,
taxes,
there's no church that's gonna be like,
if the
yeah,
American
parishioners can write
government
it off.
enforces the church has to pay an income tax on their tithes and offerings, then the American church will decrease in giving greatly because the American who does give and write off their giving would stop.
Maybe not, because I mean, there's those of us that believe that giving is ordained.
So you think a lot of Christians would still give even if they couldn't write it off?
I don't know. What I will say is,
in researching this and in
I would
talking
say
about this,
whether
discussing this,
the parishioners give less or not, the church will have less to give.
no, obviously, but in researching this, if people can't get a write-off on their givings, they tend to not give.
Yeah. I mean,
Christians, whatever, people.
I don't want to.
Anybody who gives.
I don't want to put that. I don't want to
write it
put
off.
that on us.
No, it's the motivated. I'm just saying they want to write it off. You don't get to write off 100% of anything.
No.
So it doesn't. I mean,
I'm not
writing
gonna,
off like a fraction of.
I personally don't think I'll write off my tax.
I haven't yet.
I don't care if it's $20,000. I don't think I'll write it off. I feel like that's.
But I know people that give a huge chunk.
That's me.
Of their
I feel like
salary
that's me getting
away. They give a huge chunk.
That's like part of me getting something for.
I don't
doing
think
what I'm supposed
if
to do.
someone gave 30% of their income or 50% of their income away, they are not looking for a tax return. That is not why they're doing it.
They're doing it to do it.
Yeah. So it's I mean, and I think those people write things off. They're getting a fraction of it back. They're not getting.
Yeah,
it
it's
back.
not. Yeah, it's not. A lot.
I don't know. It's now the other
I think
part.
what I have said is that it makes it hard for the church startups. I think this is the conversation we've always had is if you started it right now, the Joel Osteen churches, these churches would continue to just go as they've been going because they're just mega churches and they have
Well, I know Stephen
$millions.
Furtick is worth $60 million because of record.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but his church is not gonna
He's a record
falter. Ark would suffer if Ark had to pay taxes like that.
Let me ask you
Ark
this
would
about
suffer.
churches that suffer fail. You guys just took over a church that the ministry failed before, right? It failed. You guys
Several,
did,
yeah,
huh?
several.
Right. Okay. So they've failed. Now, if we put together a 501(c), 10 of us got together, we raised $10,000, and we filed for a 501(c), and we started a ministry 3 years from now, we had $200,000 surplus, and it failed. What happens to the $200,000?
It goes. You split it. I mean, it depends on how you've had your. Because I'm figuring.
That's bizarre. Is that legal? That can't be legal.
What else would you do with it?
I don't know, but that's the biggest thing. My biggest question about these churches is that's bigger than any corporation situation you could think of.
If you fail-
corporations lay off people, they file bankruptcy because they don't want to pay their vendors, but they stay in business.
Yeah.
They play a lot of games that we don't like.
Yeah.
If churches can just raise a bunch of money over 3 or 4 years and then fail and keep it, that doesn't seem.
Maybe not. I don't know.
What happened to it?
I don't know what happens to it because
didn't I ask you to look that up like a month ago?
It's given as a gift.
Gavi, will you look that up? For
It's
us?
given as a gift from the parishioner, so it's not expected back. So yeah, what happens to it? I would assume that the IRS would come after them to pay a portion of it in taxes, and then that would be it.
I heard a parishioner say, if this church that they were going to, I'm going to ask for my
Money
giving
back.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what
don't
happens
think
if
you
they
can.
don't spend it. I don't know what happens. So
You can't ask for it back. It's
All
a
right,
gift.
well.
It's a gift.
we have more to look into
Yeah.
because your church, your ministry, is making a lot in giving. We make a lot of money in giving. To be such a
crazy.
small church.
I
So
have
to be
no
a big church.
I have no idea. I know you're privy to information.
What did Gavi say on her? I know she said another comment since I said that.
Look what up. You paused. I guess
Wow, that's interesting. Look up what happens to all of the money
if
when
a church fails.
What happens to the excess money they have?
If they have a
if they start a 501(c), they raise the first $10,000 and they create a 501(c), and over a 3-year period, a ministry raises $200,000, and then it fails. What happens to the money they haven't spent?
why would it fail? If over 3 years they've raised 200,000, why would it fail? You're saying they fail intentionally?
I would call that. I know this from where I'm sitting.
If they shutter the doors, that's some kind of fraud. I think there's some fraud that they could be gotten if they just took the $200,000 and then just shutter the doors. I think when ministries fail, you have to it's because you don't have the finances to keep going.
If you're a 501(c), it's hard to prove that you've done anything. You're not filing.
That's true.
You don't file. You're not. I don't know. If you're a 501(c) that just takes in shoes for the homeless,
but you don't think
you could literally pay your people 90% of the income you bring in.
You don't
and
think
it's totally legal.
You don't think the government knows how much money comes into Joel Osteen's church every year?
I don't think they do. Go try to look this stuff up. You can't find it. You can't find out how much money he raises every year.
Yeah, that's true.
You know how much he's worth. You know how much he takes in, but it's a different thing altogether. It's not even coming from the church. I don't know, man. I don't know if they tell people. I don't know. They don't have to file.
So then if the church fails, then who can make anything happen with the money?
I don't know.
Nobody
can enforce anything. I don't know. That's why I'm saying look it up. I don't know. Well, we shouldn't even done that segment. We don't even know what we're talking about.
It's actually a good little. It's a provocative kind of.
Have you been to a budget yet with your church? Does your church show you a budget?
No.
So both.
I'm sure there's a.
All right, look, she said something.
Everyone gets statements. It's like
the giving people do. That's true. Only so the government would have an idea how much money your church gave in from the people who do write off their actual giving.
Yeah.
That still doesn't mean they get 100%.
So I guess what she's saying. So the board gets paid.
You can pay everybody. When you're a 501(c), you can pay out 90% of your income to employees, and it's totally legal. You could take in, if you're a 501(c), you could bring in $100,000 in giving and pay out $90,000 to the people that work there.
And do what with the other 10?
Give it away or whatever you're.
Well, how do you? You got to keep the church lights on. So there's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can 90% of it can go to nothing, and it's totally legal. This happens all the time. 501(c)s all the time that aren't churches spend most of the money.
They just pay it out to themselves.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, CEOs. I worked on. There was a woman that was the head of an animal rights thing. She was it wasn't PETA, but what she did is she went and made sure that her 501(c) made sure people were taking care of their animals, and if not, she took the animals in. That's what the 501(c)
So she just went around
she
knocking on people's doors,
or if somebody reported or something, and then she would assist them on taking care of their animals properly. Okay. And she had this. I mean, this house was because
she was paying
15,000 square feet.
Everything that was donated, she was
paying herself
because what was she needing the money for?
And that's what they were. They were both of them. He had a 501(c)(2). I don't know what his was, but both of them were just like that.
That's crazy.
So this is saying. My current frame rate is too low. Please set your frame rate to 15. Dude, I'm telling you, this is weird. I don't know if it's the internet.
Churches print statements to show the budget and where it goes. Okay.
I don't know how to do that. What it's asking me to do, I don't know how to do.
Does your church print the budget and where it goes?
This one, I have not seen that yet, but I saw it at First Baptist Church of Woodstock, and I saw it at Five Stones.
What you saw? They printed it for everyone to see, or
they would print it if you requested it, but every year they would show it to us. They would put it up. We had a whole Sunday that was dedicated to going over the budget, how much was going to salaries, how much was going to pushing the ministry forward, how much was going overseas.
That's some transparency. That's cool.
Where's the budget?
Yeah. Well, just share it with your whole congregation, though. You know what I'm saying? That's transparency.
Yeah,
as opposed to,
we had something here. We had a meeting.
Personally, I don't care about
where she talked about some of the stuff with us. I thought that's what this thing was set on. I'm sorry. You lost my attention a little bit because I'm having issues with the stream. So I don't know if you guys can experience the issues as well or not.
But anyways,
but we have them. So.
So what are we going on to next?
I guess what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, we're done. I think we're done with the budget as we really don't know what we're talking about, but I'm dropping frames. And so we're going to have issues, I guess. I don't know why. Maybe it's the internet. Not really sure. But we'll just go with it, So the next topic.
Yeah, we're real glitchy.
Yeah, I can't. I don't even know what to do about it either. Right now it just is what it is. Do you remember we had these issues before? Another time
Here?
No, we've never had these issues here.
Yeah,
But we had them in other situations, and I had to play with the settings and stuff. So I'm gonna have to go with that. All right, so let's move forward. I want to talk a little bit about personal accountability.
Let's run it.
All right. When I say accountability, did you look into this at all? Did you make any notes about this topic when I sent you the notes?
No,
I
I
care. Okay. Accountability is an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. Now, typically where you would talk about accountability is diet and exercise. Okay. Which is very challenging.
Yeah.
I used to have a roommate, and he would say,
I talk about it a lot in recovery as well.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. But with health and exercise, there's people that will tell you they're doing everything they can
When they're really not.
Well, I don't know.
Nobody's
How do you know?
Nobody's holding them accountable.
One thing we talked about before is your prayer life. If I say to you, did you pray about it? And you say yes.
No, nobody knows.
How do I hold you accountable
Yeah.
to that? What could I do or say? And we learn things in recovery. I could say to you, did you pray about it? And you say yes. And then we move on. And the next time you struggle, I can say, did you pray about it? And hopefully the struggle, the pain from the struggling
Has made me
brings
go,
you to be
okay.
honest at some point.
No, I haven't.
Without me telling you, this doesn't appear from what you're saying and
what
how
I'm
you're behaving.
seeing,
Doesn't appear that you are praying. But I can't,
can't
one
accuse-
way that you can tell Christians aren't praying is how they respond to crisis.
Yeah.
They have their flat tire and they lose it. Somebody cuts them off and they lose it.
Yeah.
They get
Hey,
fired.
Whoa.
You
I'm
can tell.
prayed up.
You still lose it when you get cut off? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes.
I'm not judging your prayer life. I'm saying it's
My
hard to
driving
do that.
is that's we were talking about it last night actually, that's the one place where she still sees like my anger come out is when you're driving. Is when driving and dealing with people.
Dude,
But
we are
it is what
having
it is.
tons of issues, guys. I apologize for this.
Is it bad?
It's bad. We're dropping frames like 8% of the frames are getting dropped.
Yeah, this is looking
It
bad.
just means we're glitched out, and we're getting warned all over Facebook, like pausing us and doing all kinds of stuff.
Getting warned?
Yeah, it like
For what?
pops up and says you're something about our frames dropping.
And now that I'm off the internet.
Look
or
right
no?
here, too low FPS.
Sorry guys.
What's so funny is we've been rocking the whole time,
Yeah, I don't understand where this came from.
and I think this is what my settings at. That's what I don't understand. I
Yeah.
think I'm there, and it's still saying it anyway.
What Wi-Fi are you on?
I'm on the churches.
Like the churches or the guests?
The churches,
Okay.
which I don't know if that's a problem or not.
I don't know.
Don't
I don't know which one I
not,
want. I
Not
think
willing to risk that for the biscuit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're going there. But anyway, so we're dropping lots of frames. We're enjoying ourselves. It's hard to watch us. If you're sticking in with us, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Gavi.
We appreciate it.
Gavi is getting through the glitching. Yeah, they just
Somebody else is. I don't know who it is, but somebody else is.
they
there.
just keep warning us too. They just keep telling me over and over again, "Hey, you're glitched out." But so anyway,
Does that mean they'll stop the video if it gets too bad?
I don't know. I think it's just really hard to watch it.
Okay.
But now listening to it is probably fine.
No, I'm saying
The recording is also-
Will Facebook stop it?
No, that's fine. The recording is a little off, but I can fix that. It's easy to fix the recording. It's just hard to deal with this. So, but moving right along into holding people accountable,
Yeah.
right? So, this, and I think this ties up to what you were saying about righteous judgment, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, now we're talking about prayer life. I also say this about pornography.
Pornograph.
When you're with a Christian male and he seems to make comments about, you could be with another Christian at work,
Yeah.
and he'll make a comment about a woman in a store or something like that. I think you got signs,
Yeah.
right? And then some men straight up tell you the truth.
And so here's the thing. So what I wanted to say was, so you do see signs. You see signs in people, and as people talk about judge not lest you be. That whole verse, if you read it in context, we're called to judge righteously. We're called to judge so that we can help, not so that we can condemn, but so that we can see what is really wrong, what is really going on with this person, and see how we can help them. That is how we're supposed to judge. Now, the way we do that is not, oh, look at you, you need to stop doing this, blah, 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 blah. The way we do that is like you said, we discern that this person is going through this by little things that we hear, little things that we see. And maybe we've struggled with what they're struggling with before. And the best way to help in that situation is to mention in some context what you've struggled with. Give your testimony in a way that will bring that person to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you know somebody who has struggled with that and overcome it, get them to tell their testimony so that it can potentially bring this person in. That's where confessing your sins one to another becomes really important. Because if I don't struggle with something, but I know you do, and you've overcome it, and we find this person who struggles with that,
yeah, you
I
have
know
a better
that you
discernment
can help.
I know
who to go to and say, hey man, I think this person's struggling with this. I'm not sure, but can you tell a test? Can you kind of put it out there that you've gone through this before? Whatever. So as opposed to just going in and just judging people and saying, well, this person is this, and gossip.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
So, obviously, and I want to bounce all over the place here. The same things happens with careers. The same thing can happen with
Tammy.
finance. The same thing happens with how you spend your time. And a lot of people do struggle with being honest about it. They say that they're eating right. They say they're going to the gym. They say that they're giving everything to their company, that they're following the mission. They say they're always on time, but you're not actually with them. And one of the things I want to talk about is it is important for us as Christians to find someone that can speak life into our situation.
Who we can be 100% accountable with or to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
They don't try to control you.
Yeah, they don't try to
and
tell you what you should do in this situation
They
or
stay
whatever.
with you as you make these mistakes.
Yeah.
But,
how many mistakes have we watched each
plenty,
other make?
and still do.
Yeah,
still
it's
do.
just,
Absolutely.
I mean, what's funny is we've given each other so much advice that neither one of us has taken.
Sure,
It's crazy.
totally. And both of us have been patient at times.
Yeah.
And sat on the side and said, okay, when it hurts, I'm here to judge what you've been doing.
Yeah.
That is pain. And I want to talk about it and say, as Christians, a lot of people they overcome something. Like I have walked out of looking at porn, right?
Yeah.
So you overcome something. Now I am on a mission to help every man that struggles with this get out of the situation.
Yeah.
But some of us tend to beat people over the head as they try to get out. And we forget how hard it was and what we went through to get out.
I don't understand why you can't just stop. Like that's not helpful.
Yeah,
that's not
it's
helpful
not.
at all. Because now you're pushing them back into their closet. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. When you overreact to someone's sin, you are shoving them into a dangerous place of denial and places that they've come out of.
Of lying to you.
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Great.
Because they know.
You're overreacting.
They know if they bring it up.
And you're not being, and again, I'm not saying don't look at a person's situation and make a judgment call. But I do think that the way you handle people has to be, you have to have some grace and mercy with it.
Yeah, because look, we're all going to make snap judgments in our heads. We're humans. It's going to happen. We're going to see. It's the vocalizing those things. It's the knowing what to keep in your head and knowing how to speak to people, to speak some semblance of life into them.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, like you said, just beating them down. You're not everyone's accountability coach. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get to hold everyone accountable. Like we said, you should have somebody that you are holding accountable and is holding you accountable on a personal level. But you don't just get to go around